This would be fun. If this is good enough for two, it's good enough for me. Oh, thank you, thank you. How many of you got to see two the other night? How many of you think he needs this room next year? Because that would really suck, because I hear they're going to be a different hotel. You know, as I've been telling folk, this is really painful for a person like me who is pathologically compulsive about being on time. But any excuse to hang with the Tiger Tribe, that makes it all better. Well, I guess anybody who's going to come in is going to come in, so,
Sorry. On with the show.
Well, yeah. And this is the interesting thing, too. Normally, the way things have sort of evolved is they have me in the beginning of the evening because I normally say, you know, clean, professional things. They put too late in the evening because he cusses all the time. But I find it's now after 10 and I'm up on stage, so fuck! My name is Dr. Samuel Conway, I'm better known to you all as Kage. And I am the chairman of Anthrocon, which makes it really weird that I would be here. Oh, thank you, yes. He's one of my staff members. Oh boy. And I am here tonight for no discernible reason, other than to stand up here and talk into this microphone, and I hope you enjoy the things I say. I don't know why you're all here. But
we're here for the chair.
I know why you're here. You're here for the chair.
Chair.
We're here because this is a convention of anthropomorphics, of furry fandom. Call it what you will, it doesn't matter what you call it, it's all the same thing. And we're all here because of it. It has been an interesting year, the year 2001, hasn't it? For furry fandom and for the world. The United States is at war. We have seen the destruction of two great landmarks in New York City, and we've seen Vanity Fair. And more. MTV I don't count because the MTV thing was actually filmed 3 years ago by some pusshead named Castro. Think about it. When I grew up, there was a pusshead named Castro we were all supposed to hate. Now it's your generation's turn. It's something with the name. Something that folks need to know about that MTV thing. Almost all of it was staged. That stuff with Yote was all a put on. Castro made him say that stuff because Castro said, I'll pay for you to go to the con if you'll say this in front of the camera. Journalistic integrity. So not only do we have that, but we also have the journalistic integrity of a gentleman by the name of George Gurley. Remember him? George Gurley of Vanity Fair. Now, for a long time, people were all upset at George Gurley. They were all, oh, we want to kill this guy. We want to fight out midget. No. I must beg all of you, if there's any of that lingering anger left behind, we must have charity for the poor man, because try to imagine for just one moment what it was like in 9th grade with the name George Gurley. He suffered. He suffered and he simply took it out on us. So, and as I mentioned in Anthrocon, I'm going to mention it here because it has even more meaning now than it did then. Just as the city of New York said to those fuckwads over in Afghanistan, just as we saw after the Vanity Fair article, and just as we saw after the interesting perspective on furry fandom that came about from the MTV special, after all of that, we're still here. Our fandom is growing. It is growing rapidly, and as we break into the mainstream, become more noticeable, this kind of thing is gonna happen. This is called growing pains. We just gotta live with it. We'll be there very, very shortly. We will have all the respect that the Star Trek people will have more respect than the Star Trek people. Eventually, one. I have not had a chance. I've been manning a dealer table the whole time. I have not had a chance to meet the lovely guests of honor. I understand David Brin is here. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I have been wanting to meet David Brin for like minutes, and no, for a long time, really. So, if he's in the audience, please, somebody introduce me afterward. I'm so shy around guests, even though I get to be one sometimes. See, that's the kick-ass thing. I became chairman of Anthrocon because at Albany Anthrocon 1998, I was guest of honor. Something happened somewhere at Albany Anthrocon 1998. As guest of honor, I became chairman. I don't know how. I honestly don't remember what they did. It's just I went home and I was chairman. I even called Chip. I said, Chip, what happened? He said, nothing, you're chairman, shut up. Yeah, okay, why not? It's fun to be a guest of honor, though. It's really fun to be a guest of honor, especially when you've got real suck-asses like Dr. Conway as the chairman, who really, really, really like to try to show off for you. For example, I made some big points with Bill Holbrook. You know, Bill Holbrook, well, actually, I kind of made some good and bad points with Bill Holbrook. Some of you may remember the con book for Anthrocon this year. I had the chairman's message in the front. Now, they told me about 3 minutes before press time we need a chairman's message. I said, just write something that sounds like I said it. They said, no, we can't do it. So I just quickly penned, almost in shorthand, a chairman's message. Hi, welcome to Anthrocon. Our guests are, what the hell? Bill Holbrook, Bill Holbrook, he's been doing furry stuff before it was popular. He's given us Kevin and Kel. And in mainstream syndication, he's given us Safe Havens. He's given us On the Fast Track. I wanted to mention these things, but I got 3 minutes of press time. So I scribbled down, Bill Holbrook, wonderful Bill Holbrook, the creator of Safe Havens and blah, blah, blah. Just give me it, and send it in. Now, on one hand, it's really, really nice to have a staff that follows your instructions to the letter. But if you turn to the front of that con book and it says, Bill Holbrook, creator of Safe Havens and blah, 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 it really does. I have in the dealer's room, come by, I'll show it to you. I expected that Mr. Holbrook was going to be cross with me. However, he was not, because without realizing it, I made big points with him. With his family. Dear Bill brought with him his wife and his darling 2 little girls, if you remember them, to Anthrocon this year. Now, they got off the airplane, and they got their luggage. Now, I had said there would be a driver to pick you up. And they were looking around, and little Haviland, his littlest girl, looked out, and there's this big white stretch limousine out there. And she said, Daddy, is that for us? And Bill said, oh no, darling, that's for important people. Just then the driver came up and said, Mr. Holbrook? Apparently the whole way to the hotel, Haviland's eyes were as big as saucers. Daddy's important! So, the little niceties we give to our guests of honor sometimes go a long way. And this is in case there's any other con chairs out there want to have me as a guest. I like to be coddled, okay? And not to blow my own horn, you know how I hate doing that. But I'm going to be guest of honor at DuckCon this year, if you feel like going out there to Chicago. And if you really want to take a long plane trip, I got called by Eurofurence the other day and said, hey, want to be guest? I said, yeah, sure, okay. So I'm going to be guest of honor at Eurofurence this year, too. Boy, a trip to Germany and somebody else is paying. The one thing I have to do is I have to send Cheetah as their chairman. I really want to know why he sent me in the mail a passport with my name on it and somebody else's picture. I want to know what I'm supposed to do with this. And whether or not I'm supposed to tell all of you about that. Anthrocon now, not just Anthrocon, any convention takes a heavy toll on its staff and on its chairman. If you should happen to see Mitra around here, he looks extremely calm, he's quiet, collected, and composed. That's not really Mitra. That's a double that they've hired for. The real Mitra's up in the room going, Because, you see, that's what I was doing for much of Anthrocon. For one thing, a lot of stuff goes wrong behind the scenes, and sometimes it goes on in front of the scenes. That's what we try to avoid. That we're required to deal with. One thing that I don't understand about Anthrocon, and somebody please answer it. What the hell is wrong with you people? This was the year of the medical emergency. Every time I turned around, somebody was dying! Stop it! It causes me consternation. Don't die in my con. Get out of the goddamn parking lot, would you? It started, now I hope that folks are, I try not to embarrass, well actually I like to embarrass folks, but if they're in the audience I really am sorry, but God you make great stories. It began actually on the Friday of the con. I was running around doing chairman type things. Now you all are aware that normally I'm quite calm at Anthrocon. I usually seem strolling around quite slowly and simply saying hello to everybody and waiting for something to happen. Well it did. I had my little radio. And I was chatting with somebody. I think I was talking with Jim Grote in the dealer's room about the stock prices on pork bellies in the Midwest, something like that. When my radio crackled, and it was Jonah, the registration guy, saying, "Security, registration now." Oh, I like to hear those words on my radio. I thought perhaps that somebody had gotten a little offended at my attempts to bring us all together by having that great social occasion in the lobby. You remember that? I thought it would be lots of fun to get everybody in the con together outside of registration at one time, so that we can get to know one another better. Really? I only had your best interests at heart.
You're too good to us, Kage.
And Mitra's smirking back there. Get a real registration line, you 20 people. Anyway. Moving right along. As I went walking briskly to find out what was going on, fortunately, thank you to all the people who pointed to a gentleman who is lying on the ground. He seemed to be in the throes of a fully fledged grand mal seizure. And I walked up and I said, "Oh, thank God it's not a fight." Maybe I ought to do something about this actually, now that you mention it. You see, I do have medical training. I do have emergency medical training. It is all veterinary. There's not really much difference. I could, put a tube down his throat and maybe pump some fluids into him and see if he had eggs inside. I was fairly certain he didn't. Let this be a lesson to everybody. If you have a person having a seizure, just let them go. Do not let them hit anything, move things out of the way. Don't let them injure themselves, but let them go. Don't try to put anything between their teeth. That's an old wives' tale. They will bite your finger off. Really, they will. Some guy comes up and says, "Here, put this wallet between his teeth." I said, "No, give that to me." Anyway, no, you're wrong. We simply let him go. When he calmed down enough, I looked to see if there was anything on him to identify him as having epilepsy. I saw nothing. If you have any such conditions, please wear your medical alert tags or something. Wear a gigantic sandwich sign around your neck. "I am an epileptic." Because, not knowing that, why was he having a seizure? Was it because he'd had a brain hemorrhage? Was he an epileptic? Was he on drugs? Had he been in the registration line too long? I was worried about that last one, really. I asked an ambulance to be summoned. And I was a little bit bothered at first because the ambulance got there in due time, and the ambulance guys came out, with a little ambulance thing. They got in there, they put their gun up, and they stood and watched. I'm standing next to the guy, trying to say to him, "Okay, can you understand me? Do you know where you are?" And he would nod, and I said, "Where are you?" Yeah, that one was a little tough. Okay, let's go to an easier one, all right? Okay. "Do you know your name?" "What is your name?" Okay, that was a little tough too, okay? "Do you know who I am?" "What do you mean no? Get him out of here!" I didn't really do that. My stories are true. If they're not true, I'll tell you. See, that's not true. That part's not true.
It's
He
not true,
was
you'll tell
awake
us.
but not lucid, and the ambulance guys were still standing there, and I was starting to get rather annoyed. And I finally realized what it is. They came in, what do they see? They see a guy in a long white coat bending over the patient. Take him away. He's in my ridge line. Hold his place. I'm sure he'll be back before he gets up to the... That's not going to happen next year.
Yay!
I made sure people know that on my staff. Remember the printers I bought? Well, we threw them away. Actually, we didn't throw them away. We donated them to a local organization who needs such things. And I told Jonah, okay, go buy the printers you want to buy. So we won't have that problem again. Now, that being done, I had to kind of go and sit down. Okay, sit down. I got stuff here, you see. I sat down in a chair. And I saw a shadow of a person walk up to me. And I said, yes, what is it? He said, do you know Dan DiCarlo? I said, do I know Dan DiCarlo? Let me see. Dan DiCarlo, 80-year-old gentleman, my guest of honor upstairs. Yes, I know goddamn Dan DiCarlo. Why are you bothering me? He said, he's upstairs with Mike Curtis. I said, well, don't tell Josie. Whatever he does on his off hours is not my business. He said, no, he's having chest pains. Excuse me. I had to get up to the 23rd floor. Quick, to the elevator. I'm not making any of this up. That's the painful part.
I heard.
Having realized that the elevator was not going to be the fastest means of traversing to the floor, sprouting wings and flying there myself would have been a little faster. I took to the stairs. Anthrocon is very concerned with the physical health of its members. You don't need a membership to a gym. We provided it to you. Everybody was in good shape that weekend. We gave you the social, and we gave you an exercise program. Don't bitch at me for it. I'm going blind. What's going on in the back of the room? Oh. I got upstairs. Mr. DiCarlo was upstairs, kvetching and groaning, I don't need any of this, bother stuff here. And I asked him what was wrong, and he had apparently left his medication home in Scarsdale, New York. Easy thing. Here's what you do. Call the family physician, explain the situation, ask to have the prescription called into a nearby pharmacy. Easy, on paper. Because now being up on the 23rd floor, I had to get back down. It's easy to go down the stairs. You can go down the stairs a lot faster. We called the pharmacy, and I myself hopped into my car, my little white Saturn out there, and went racing down there. I wish I had still lights and siren. That would be lots of fun. Got to the pharmacy, everything's going swimmingly. And I got to the pharmacy, and behind the counter at the pharmacy was a young lady who apparently had been fired from the Denny's for being too surly. Have you ever seen that? I got there and she was looking at me like this. I said, hello, you have a prescription for DiCarlo. She said, don't got it. No, I said no. D-E-C-A-R-L-O, the doctor just called it in. She said, don't got it. Okay, let me start from the beginning. D-E-C-A-R-L-O, don't fuck with me, bitch, give it to me now! I'm a little tense, I'm sorry. Could I please have the prescription for Mr. Dan DiCarlo? She turned around, glowering at me, and threw it on the counter, and I looked at it and said, no, DiCarlo starts with a D. DiCarlo, please, I'm begging you, please. The man's going to have a problem if you don't even... She turned around and gave me the right one. I said, good. How much? She said, $10. I think that means $10. It sounded good to me. So look what I got, Oh, I have a prop, I didn't realize this. Ooh, thanks to the Tiger Tribe. It's fine, but we'll pretend. I put it on the counter, and I swear, she looked at it. She picked it up like it had anthrax or something. Put it in the register, slammed it. I was out the door by then. Got on the cell phone, called the hotel. I said, always get to know all the folks at the hotel. The operator, sweet lady. I said, hi, it's Sam. We got a problem on 23. Mr. Carlos having chest pains. I have his medication here. Get a bellman. Get him to push the button on that elevator. When the elevator gets there, he is to block it on the ground floor. Don't let anybody in. And keep it there until I get there. I'm going to need unimpeded access to the 23rd floor. Ran out to my car, got in the car, raced up to the Ansmark, almost crashed through the gate, that stupid little gate thing you gotta go through, with the parking thing. Came around, it was like Dukes of Hazzard. Come around on 2 wheels, scream up that little entrance there, pull the car up on the curb, like this. And of course, it's a Saturn, almost rolled over with that. Put the four-ways on, and went dashing inside, up the stairs, and there's no elevator, there's people waiting, and here's the bellman standing off looking at the... I went up to him and said, didn't you get my message that I needed the elevator here? And he said, oh, it's not here yet. 23. I got Mr. DeCarlo's medication to him. After about 10 minutes, he felt better. 10 minutes later, he felt really good, was ready to come downstairs, do some panels. Don't really remember the rest of the day. I'm sure. Oh no, actually I do remember one thing. How can I forget Earplug Boy? See out here? Delightful chap, very, very nice fellow. He had suffered a punctured eardrum and was required by the doctor to wear an earplug in his ear when he took a shower. And I was called to Conops. This gentleman was in distress. I went in and I said, yes, what is it? I've had a bad day, what is it? He said, I have an earplug in my ear. Good for you. I'm happy for you. Bye. He said, no, I can't get it out. I was starting to think this chap was decidedly incompetent. Even I can get an earplug out of my ear. Except, when I looked into this man's ear, and way down there, I saw this faint, dark circle of blue rubber on the other side of his head. And I said, how did this happen? No, I don't want to know. Don't tell me, it's too much information. I'll help you extricate it, okay? So I went upstairs to that little gift shop and I said, miss, I have a problem. I need a pair of tweezers. Metal tweezers. And she said, oh, did you get a splinter? I said, something like that, actually. So she gave me the pair and I told her what it was for and she said, I said, do you want these back? She said, no. Went downstairs and said to the guy, this might feel strange. And he explained to me then that because his eardrum was punctured, there is communication between the sinuses and the inner ear via the eustachian tube. Remember that from your biology classes? Yeah. No. He said, if I hold my nose and blow, I can kind of feel it pushing out a bit. I said, well, that'll help. Hold your nose and blow. Now, I didn't want to pull the thing out quickly. I was very carefully getting the... See, I also didn't want to grab one of those little hairs in there. Take some of them out. I finally got the tweezers around. His face is getting a little red by this point. And I just started this circular motion, very slow circular motion. We'll work it out of here gently. His face is starting to turn kind of blue. I said, don't stop. And he's going... Finally, it came free. And I gave him one of my own earplugs that I always carry with me because, as Tu mentioned, I like it quiet when I sleep. Mine are attached to a little piece of string. And you can just, there it goes, it's out. I honestly thought maybe if I just blew real hard, I could... Anyway. So, I didn't get to bed that night till about 2:30 a.m. And then, of course, I was up again at 6:30 a.m. That was the most sleep I got in one evening. I came plodding downstairs, thinking, oh, hope the reg computers are working this morning. We have to check on that. Downstairs, folks are up already. Good thing. And I got to the lobby and I looked out and, you know how sometimes you go to bed thinking you forgot something? That nagging feeling I'm forgetting something. There's my car out there, up on the curb, with its four-way still on. Bingo! Saturns are very good that way. It started right up. Anyway. How many of you, by the way, were at AC this year? That's good to hear. How many were not? How many of you were at AC 2000? So, and some of you were here last year. Almost everyone has heard about Dr. K, right? Remember Dr. K? Yeah, I mean, it's Dr. K and Dr. Conway, and I, of course, he's the physician. I call him Barber, right? You know, because he barber cuts hair, and I was making fun of him at the last story hour. You know, Dr. K, you know, look at me, big Dr. guy. Well, of course, we did make a video of that performance, which is on sale in the dealer's room. I'll sell it to you. Mom loved that video. She thought Dr. K would like it too, so she gave him a copy. Should have seen me when I was at her place for dinner and she told me that. It's been such a long time since food has just fallen out of my mouth. Not since I was a year and a half old. Do what now? What do you mean you gave him the oh, Jesus. The problem was, I needed Dr. K's advice, you see, because about April of this past year, 2001, you remember this little complaint I have of recurring kidney stones? Those are the things you occasionally need a physician for. And I did. I suffered in excruciating, unbearable, unimaginable agony for 3 days, for 74 hours, because I was afraid to call Dr. K. I knew exactly what he'd say. I'd say, Dr. K, I'm in pain, and he'd say, good. You deserve it, you little hoser. Barber, is it? Go to hell. But Dr. K, for all I joke around, would not do that. He is a consummate professional. And when I called him gasping in agony, he remembered his Hippocratic oath. Thank goodness. And he had a very lengthy conversation with me. He said, I want you to get the following painkillers, go to the pharmacy, they'll be waiting there for you. I want you to drink this much fluid at this interval. Pardon me. And I did so. The stone didn't actually pass, but it went somewhere. It's like by voodoo, he made it go into a lung or something, so it didn't hurt anymore. He said, call me in 2 days, and I did. And he said, okay, we seem to have gotten into a place where it's not going to be causing you pain. If it's not causing you pain, it's not causing you damage. Therefore, it is not an immediate concern. He's discussed treatment options with me, and he said, you know, if this happens, do this. If this happens, do that. I want you to consider the following. And thank you. And as I was about to hang up, he said, oh, by the way, I couldn't help seeing your name in Vanity Fair last month. I said to him, sir, you cannot begin to imagine the amount of distress that article caused me. He said, oh, don't worry about it. The next time you come in for a haircut, I'll have a little stuffed bear waiting for you to keep you company. So I shall only say, Dr. K, as I have said before, I have the highest personal and professional respect for you despite all my playing around, and touche. You win. It is true. Dr. K has saved my life. He has saved my father's life. We owe him everything. The man has the hands of Hippocrates himself. And I'll tell you this much, Hippocrates had some damn big knuckles.
Too much information.
He doesn't believe in using one. As you all know, Anthrocon takes place now in Philadelphia, the wonderful city of Philadelphia. Anybody from Philadelphia here? Oh, God help you. He's actually from Jersey. Don't let him fool you. Tell him what exit you're from. Yeah, that's a Philadelphia is an interesting place. I brought along a headline here. You see, this stuff only happens in Philadelphia. This is from KYW News Radio 1060. All news all the time. Monday, January 21st, 2002, from their webpage. Police kill man while stabbing his wife. Well, isn't that special? Anything else we can do for you today, sir? Burn your house down, kick your dog, send dogs to your children? We are the Philadelphia Police, after all. Actually, I am joking. That's a typo, you see. I would have no ill words for the Philadelphia Police. They themselves get some bad press. However, I personally have seen some of the shit they gotta put up with. These people are there to protect, to serve, and to kick ass when necessary. I got to see them in action up close one fine spring day when I was on my way down to good old 30th Street Station, Amtrak's 30th Street Station, Philadelphia. I went down there. I don't remember what business I had, buying a ticket, I think. And there were these two nice ladies, an older lady, sorry, and a lady about my age. They were staring at the giant tourist map, which was put there to weed out the stupid tourists from the people with PhDs. Nobody with PhDs looks at it. More people have vanished without a trace, leaving their family sobbing, looking at that tourist map. And they are probably floating face down in the Delaware as we speak. And I went up and I said, good afternoon, ladies. Perhaps I can be of assistance. You seem to be a little lost. And they said, yes, we are. We're looking for the Norman Rockwell Museum. And I was thinking to myself, you are lost, aren't you? What do you want to go there for? It's a bunch of plates and figurines some old guy did. But, okay, you know, whatever you're into, we all got our kinks. Well, we do. I know I have mine.
Do tell.
That's another story. You have to go to Anthrocon for that one.
More about the video.
I told them, well, to get there, you want to take the Market Frankfurt elevated blue line down there. It's not easy to get to that from where you're standing. It's not like a straight line. You have to go up, down, over, down the stairs, across the street. It really is awful. So I said, I'll tell you what, I have to get on the Market Frankfurt myself. Why don't you go with me? And I will take you there, and I'll show you where to get your token and send you on your way. Now, as we were walking, these were such pleasant ladies. They were from Boston. You see, actually, one of those little places outside. Boston has like 50 million suburbs with names like Medford and things, all those places, you know. So I was talking with them. They'd never been in Philadelphia before. They seemed a little intimidated. And I said, I know the sort of things you've seen. You watch movies and TV and your Rocky Balboa. No, we're not like that. Philadelphia is actually an incredibly friendly city. It's true. It has a very low crime rate. And I was giving them the big spiel, you know. Mayor Street would have been real proud of me. You're telling I was like, tourist man, here, I am your tour guide. You know, please note that the streets are much cleaner than they show them on TV. They actually had to dirty them up to outbreak here, see? And I was telling them all about the wonderful virtues of the city, how people like me will happily stop and give you directions. We got down to the subway station, and I showed them where to buy the tokens, and I went through the turnstile. I said, just put it in there, and just then, a lady came rushing up from the platform going, he's got a knife! He's got a knife! Oh my God, he's got a knife! I said, ladies, why don't you stand there for just one moment, okay? And I turned around, and sure enough, he did have a knife. There was this very wild-eyed, scary man standing behind me with this monstrous butcher knife that was taller than he was. And he was sort of looking at me, and I decided I didn't want him looking at me anymore. I simply turned around, went through the turnstile, took each lady under the arm and said, let's go upstairs, shall we? Must remain calm. And as I walked, I kept looking to see if the scary man was following as he got back down to the platform. I got upstairs, I was shaking, the ladies were shaking. I looked down, I looked at them and said, well, as I was saying, Philadelphia was founded in 1680 by Quakers. And we're really a very friend... wait, I'll be right back, okay? See, my concern at that point was somebody was going to get injured. Now, people in my family, myself, my father, my sister, it goes back as far as I know. We have a long and cherished tradition of acting without thinking. My concern was that this guy was going to slash somebody and medical attention was going to be needed. It didn't quite click in my mind that that somebody was very likely to be me. It just didn't seem, it wasn't part of the script as I was going down there. So I went down, and I went to the turnstile, got to the top of the stairs, and of course, there's all these people at the top of the stairs attempting to help out by shouting, drop the knife, drop the knife, drop the knife. Oh, that's gonna help. That'll make him drop the knife. As a matter of fact, he's looking decidedly agitated. Could you do me a favor and get the heck out of here, please? Please go away. You, just go away. Keep things quiet. Just then, a Philadelphia police officer came running downstairs. And I was worried because this was not going to work. She was about this tall. And had a long ponytail that trailed about 4 feet behind her. No, it didn't. But she was a very diminutive little lady. I thought, that knife is bigger than you are, ma'am. She just came in and said, where is he? And I said, he's down those stairs. She came and I saw her go to the top of the stairs. She pulls out this honking big-ass pistol. I mean, you see on TV they carry like 38s or something. This is like an Uzi. This thing, I've seen them use these things mounted on helicopters in Afghanistan. She's going over there now. She's saying, drop the knife. There's a difference between drop the knife, and drop the knife. And she's doing the cop walk down the stairs. Sir, drop the knife. Drop the knife. I saw the guy. Oh, that's it. I'm out of here. Whoa. And I ran to the other end of the station and I was watching. I watched that platform. I watched that entrance and I didn't hear a sound. And I got scared again because I thought, what if he has overpowered her and now she needs assistance? Oh boy. So, with the adrenaline pumping, I went to the top of the stairs and I looked down and I saw the most remarkable sight. It is a sight that any scientist, anyone in the life sciences, would kill to be able to see. An example of human reproduction by simple budding, by splitting off another whole human being, because there were 7 police officers down there. One went down. That officer, Philadelphia police are like giant single-celled organisms. She went down there and divided. They had him cuffed on the ground. They were Mirandizing him. And they sort of all stopped and looked up at me. There was only one thing you could do then. I was afraid they'd divide again and come after me. Because if there's 14 of them, there won't be enough food from just him. However, the Philly cops will be on your side. No. That was cheap. I'm actually very sorry for that. That was spur of the moment. Philadelphia police, they are there to protect, to serve, and to multiply if necessary. Well, Philadelphia is a very, very nice place because it's this nice city set in the middle of medieval Europe. Because we are sort of surrounded by an enclave of the Amish. Does everybody here understand what the Amish are? Is anybody not familiar with the term Amish? Good, that makes it easy. And if you're not, just go see the movie Witness. That's all you need to know. Being out in Amish country, not in Amish country, but very close to it, has its advantages. Because I had an apartment at the time, had a fireplace. What better to put in front of your fireplace than a nice sheepskin to stretch out on? And where better to get a sheepskin than from the Amish? I mean, they manufacture these things. They grow them in vats from single sheep cells. They've been doing it since before Dolly.
And they clone them.
They're cloned sheepskins, you're correct. So all I had to do was head out. I'm in Chester County, Lancaster's that way. Got on old Route 100, headed up, and before long, I saw exactly what I was looking for. A nice wooden placard that says sheepskins out in front of a barn. No hex sign, that's tourist crap. They don't use those. So I pulled in, and there's this proper little old Amish lady with a little prayer hat thing, and she's knitting. She's got a little desk that's made of 2 peach crates with a plank on top. I mean, this is just perfect. We're talking Amish here. And she's got lanterns lighting up the inside of the barn. And I went in, and this is like a sheepskin mall. It's sheepskins is us. Yeah, what would that be, the Amish do? I guess it'd be the sheepskins VR. Would be. Because they have their own dialect out there, and I'm looking around, and I mean, they had this one thing. It was an area rug sheepskin. This was from the macro sheep. This was the rogue sheep. It would have covered this room. I kind of wanted that. And I thought it might be out of my price range. Actually, what they do is they sew a bunch together, right? They don't really have giant sheep out there, just in case you were worried about that. Just wanted to clarify, some people here aren't very bright. I'm only talking about you. Anyway, I found one that was perfect. It was kind of like my size. See, it was just my height, just my width, something I could stretch out on in front of my fireplace. And I was looking at very thick. I mean, this sheep, this was like a winter sheep. You know, this is the heavy-duty sheep. It's like that thick. Parka sheep. And I went over to the little lady and I said, I'm interested in this sheepskin. And she got up painfully from her little desk. She's in a little 3-legged stool, and she comes toddling over. And she looks at it, and she says, that one would be $300. Oh, ooh, I didn't know. Well, I know. And she said, would you like to try it out? You mean like a, right, oh yeah, you try it out. She put it, laid it down for me. I said, should I just, write down? Okay, I mean, that's what you want. I mean, I don't got this. Oh, my. She said, I will throw in the pillow for free. And she puts it on. Oh, God. Okay, you got a sale, lady. Oh, boy, guy. Yeah, I mean, gosh, sorry. Yes, I'll buy it. Oof. Oh, I gotta have that. Oof. Can I do that again? No, I bring it, I wrap it up for you. She took it over and put it, in a nice paper wrapping, big, like, roll, Tootsie Roll sort of thing. What do you call it? Yodel. It's a big yodel. Sheep yodel. And she sat at her desk and she said, now, will this be Visa or MasterCard? Amish, right? Can I see your buggy license? Do you have some sort of ID you carry? Turns out, you see, the Amish are an incredibly savvy people. They live a simple life, but I swear they ain't dumb. They know the way things work, and they know the extent of the law. See, she pulls up a manual credit card imprinter. That's not electric. It's manual, it's a machine. She's allowed to use it. So she happily swiped my card, and I'm sure after I signed it, she walked it down to the bank, 20 miles down the road in Lancaster, and got her $300. And I went home with this magnificent sheepskin, which I still have to this day. I've often thought I should bring it to cons and give people like the massage people out here, $10 a minute to lay on my sheepskin. I will throw in the pillow for free. Believe me, you'd pay it. You would pay it.
You can throw yourself in.
Stop by the dealer table for Anthrocon. Buy all my videos and a super sponsorship and we'll talk. I don't come cheap. The problem with the Amish... Speaking of temptation, yes, the Amish sometimes suffer from temptation. This was a news report a couple of years ago which broke my heart. Because, like unto the movie Witness, the Amish suffer the pressures of outside civilization. Recently, there was a case. Now, you talk about a shock to the system. You thought that hearing that the World Trade Center buildings had collapsed was a shock. When I heard on the radio that two Amish men, Abner Stoltzfus and Abner Stoltzfus, no relation, had been caught by the FBI purchasing cocaine from the Hells Angels and distributing it to Amish youth gangs. I was really bothered, not by the Hells Angels bit, which you'd think would have tipped these Amish guys off right away. Not by the cocaine, but I really want to know what the hell is an Amish youth gang? That's a mental image I don't want. These little boys in their wide-brimmed hats surrounding you and shunning you. What a horror. Oh my heavens, has that much time passed? Well, there's a bunch of stories I can tell, but they're all on my tape anyway, you'll just have to buy it. But I will tell you one thing. The last time I was here, you all may remember that the job I had, I was working in the field of human organ procurement for research. I had gone from being the scientist to being the hunchback. That got old, so I'm back in chemistry now. The reason for that is because chemistry gets in your blood. Literally. It's why chemists live an average of 10 years shorter than everybody else does. The funny part is, everybody know who Kagemushi is? He's Furrymuck's first and oldest insect relative. Well, the interesting thing is now, 10 years after I created him, I'm now working in the field of insecticides. Sweet irony this is. It is an interesting irony, and that I would think of it right now, because I was musing on this just earlier today. This is, what is today? This is January 26, I'm sorry, it's not now, I'm going to live in the past, 2002, isn't it? It was almost to the day 10 years ago that I attended my first furry convention. And I was musing about this, and I said to myself, God damn, I'm old. I am. I have been doing furry cons for 10 years now. And I have to ask myself, why? And the answer can only be, because, man, they are fun, aren't they? There is something in a furry con that you do not find in science fiction conventions. You don't really find it anywhere else. I don't know what it is, but we got it, and boy, am I glad.
Cheers! Cheers!
The chairs! We have chairs. We have water. We have lemon. To hide the taste of the water. If indeed that is water. It's water after a fashion. I think it takes a very, very special sort of person, a special breed, if you will, for a person really to become a furry, to become a fan of anthropomorphics. Is it possible to have a test? Early in life, can we predict if a child will wind up a furry? I'll bet we can. How many of you know Tim Sussman? How many of you know Tim Sussman? Oh, now you're lying. You should know Tim Sussman. Tim Sussman is possibly the most talented writer of furry fiction that I know of. And not because he's the editor of some of the journals that my works have appeared in. That's not why I say it. He really is very good. Tim used to live in Minneapolis, and he invited me out, and we went to the, what is that massive Mall of America's thing they have out there. It's like a giant amusement park with a mall around it.
That
thing, yes.
Mall of America, Camp Snoopy.
They had a little display in there. God, that had to have been 6 or 7 years ago. I still remember this display like it was yesterday. They had some 4th graders, and they had given them a project. You know, they do this thing every once in a while. The kids have the little art project, little class projects, and then they display them in the mall. Like, this is gonna do something for the kids. You know, oh, I was on display in the mall. Well, I guess to kids that matters these days, doesn't it? The project, as near as we could figure, was they were supposed to write some little story, probably 1-paragraph description of a character that they were supposed to create. They had to create this character, write a 1-paragraph summary, a description, a physical description, or something that tells you about the character. Then they had to draw the character. So here we have a picture, and then here we have a little description. And there were dozens of these things. This one little girl I remember made Mr. Bun Bun. It kind of looked like that fat blobby thing that was here before. And Mr. Bun Bun is a happy little bunny who lives in the hole, and yeah. Okay, look at the next one, all right? And I mean, some of these were okay. Some kids made superheroes. And some kids made, one kid actually came up with this famous scientist, Dr. Noodle or something good. I was impressed by that. And I came around the corner, and there were the interesting ones. This one had a picture of what appeared to be the CBS logo with a big line pointing into it. And the little description was, Mr. Eye of Death has only one eye. His other eye was poked out with an ice pick. This one, huh? Does this say what I think it says? He said, yeah, but look at this one here. And I went over and it had this sort of green, amorphous shaped thing with a frowny face and a hat. And the description was, Snot Man is a depressed middle-aged guy who lives with his mom. I'm fairly certain these two boys sat next to each other. And I'm also fairly certain they're the ones who wound up the furries. I have no idea what time I started. I feel like I've been up here for an hour. So I'm going to add only one tiny little detail. Again, I hate to end things on a down note. This one's kind of down, I fear. I mentioned Mr. DiCarlo. Dan DiCarlo. I am very sorry to report, those of you who do not know, Mr. DiCarlo passed away on the 19th of December of 2001. It was somewhat sudden and quite a shock to all. I received a request from Josie herself to attend the funeral, which I did along with Susan Parkin, Anthrocon's programming director. Much as I hate to say, getting to the funeral itself is going to take up about 25 minutes of a story hour someday. I will wait till Josie is there herself, because I think she'd want to hear it. It made me feel a little bit awkward to tell stories of Dan DiCarlo when the poor man is only 1 month gone now, but those of you who met Dan, I think you'd agree, I think he'd be laughing about it right now. And on that note, I'd like to thank you all. In case anybody has been following national news and likes the idea of conspiracy theories, I picked up just recently today's paper. You will note that headline, Enron executive found dead. Let me read this to you. Just one paragraph. J. Clifford Baxter, a 43-year-old former vice chairman of the energy giant, was discovered dead in a Mercedes-Benz parked in a median not far from his home in the Houston suburb of Sugarland. A former Enron Corp executive who reportedly complained about the company's questionable accounting practices and resigned last May, Baxter was found shot to death in a car, an apparent suicide. I can't wait to see how this story turns out. Good night, all.
I think